Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by deep, whispering forests, there lived a cheerful young girl named Red. She was called Little Red Riding Hood because of the beautiful red cape her grandmother had sewn for her. The cape was soft as velvet and shimmered under the sunlight. But Red had never thought much of it until the day her adventure began. One bright morning, Red's mother handed her a basket filled with warm bread, fresh honey, and a small jar of herbal tea. "Take this to your grandmother, dear," her mother said with a smile. "She hasn't been feeling well, and I'm sure a visit from you will cheer her up." "Of course, Mother. I love visiting Grandma," Red chirped. She threw on her red hood, tightened the bow at her chin, and skipped off toward the forest path. The air was crisp, and birds chirped merrily as Red walked through the towering trees. She hummed a tune, feeling safe in the familiar woods. But as she reached a small clearing, a sudden gust of wind whipped around her. Her red hood flared up as if caught in an invisible whirlwind. Before she could react, a dazzling glow surrounded her, and the world blurred into a swirl of golden light. When the light faded, Red found herself standing in a completely different place. The towering trees of her forest were gone, replaced by tall, candy-colored mushrooms and bushes shaped like teapots. The sky shimmered with a soft purple hue, and the air smelled like honey and cinnamon. Red gasped. "Where am I?" A small voice answered. "You're in the whimsical woods, of course." Red spun around and saw a rabbit standing on its hind legs, dressed in a little waistcoat and holding a tiny pocket watch. His fur was as white as fresh snow, and his ears twitched as he examined her. A talking rabbit? Red blinked in surprise. "Well, of course I talk. Most things do around here," the rabbit said matter-of-factly. "But you're certainly not from this world, are you?" Red shook her head. "I was just on my way to my grandmother's house, and then... poof. My hood did something strange, and now I'm here." She fingered the edges of her cape, still glowing faintly. The rabbit's pink nose twitched. "Ah, a magical cape. That explains it. I've read about such things in old storybooks. It must have transported you here for a reason. But how do I get back home?" Red asked. The rabbit stroked his chin thoughtfully. "Magic works in mysterious ways. You may have to travel through a few different lands before it sends you back." Red bit her lip. She didn't want to worry her grandmother, but she also couldn't deny that this strange place intrigued her. "Well, if I'm here, I might as well explore." "Good spirit, young one," the rabbit beamed. "Come, let me show you around before your cape whisks you away again." As they walked, Red saw all sorts of odd creatures. A group of frogs wearing tiny hats played a lively tune on acorn fiddles. A wise old owl sat perched on a stack of floating books, reading aloud to a crowd of attentive squirrels. Trees whispered secrets to each other, their leaves rustling in amusement. "This place is amazing," Red laughed. The rabbit nodded. "It is indeed, but every adventure has its lessons. Magic never sends someone without a purpose." Just then, a commotion caught their attention. A little fox, no bigger than a kitten, was stuck in a thorny bush, yelping for help. Red rushed over and carefully untangled the poor creature, ignoring the small scratches on her hands. "Are you okay?" she asked, brushing off its fur. The fox wagged its tiny tail. "Thank you, kind traveler. I was trying to find my way home, but got caught in the brambles." Red smiled. "Maybe your home is nearby. Let's help you find it." With the rabbit leading the way, They guided the fox through winding paths until they reached a cozy burrow nestled beneath a great oak tree. A mother fox peeked out, eyes widening with relief. "My dear, I was so worried," she exclaimed, pulling the little fox into a warm hug. She turned to Red and the rabbit. "Thank you, kind travelers. Please take this as a token of my gratitude." She handed Red a tiny silver charm shaped like a star. As soon as it touched her palm, Red's cape shimmered again. The rabbit's eyes widened. That must be it. The cape reacts when you complete something important. Red barely had time to respond before the golden light surrounded her once more. The rabbit waved. "Farewell, young traveler. I hope our paths cross again." Red felt a rushing sensation, and the world blurred once more. Where would she land next? With that thought, she vanished into the light, ready for her next adventure. A rush of golden light swirled around Little Red Riding Hood, lifting her into the air as her red cape crackled with magic. She squeezed her eyes shut, bracing herself for whatever strange place she would land in next. When the light finally faded, she felt solid ground beneath her feet. Slowly, she opened her eyes and gasped in amazement. She was standing in a vast landscape where everything was enormous. Trees stretched so high that their tops disappeared into the clouds. Flowers were the size of houses, and blades of grass towered over her like great green pillars. Even the rocks were massive, making her feel as small as a mouse in a giant's world. Before she could make sense of it all, a deep, rumbling voice echoed across the land. "Who goes there?" Red spun around and let out a small yelp. A giant, at least 50 times her size, was crouched nearby, peering at her with curious green eyes. He had wild brown hair and wore a tunic made of woven leaves. His boots were as big as the houses back in her village. Red swallowed her fear and took a deep breath. "I'm Little Red Riding Hood," she said bravely. I think my magic cape brought me here." The giant's eyes widened. "A magic cape, you say? Fascinating." His voice boomed like thunder, but there was kindness in it. "I am Hugo the Giant. I don't often get visitors, especially not ones as small as you." "I didn't mean to intrude," Red said quickly. "But since I'm here, maybe I can help you with something?" Hugo's expression turned sorrowful. "Actually, there is something. I lost my golden goose, and without her, I can't collect golden feathers to trade with the mountain folk. I've searched everywhere, but she's vanished." Red's curiosity sparked. A golden goose? That sounded like something straight out of a fairy tale. "Where did you last see her?" she asked. Hugo pointed toward a distant valley. "She used to roam freely near the River of Echoes, but yesterday I heard strange laughter coming from that direction. When I went to check, she was gone." Red nodded, determination lighting up her face. "Then that's where we'll start." Hugo carefully lifted Red onto his shoulder, and together they set off toward the valley. The ground trembled with each of the giant's steps, but Red held on tightly, marveling at how the world looked from so high up. When they reached the river, a peculiar sound filled the air, high-pitched giggles that echoed strangely. Red peered down and spotted a squat, mischievous-looking troll sitting on a pile of shiny trinkets. And there, tied to a wooden post beside him, was the golden goose. "There she is," Red whispered excitedly. Hugo frowned. "That's the trickster troll. He steals things and hides them in his treasure hoard." Red thought for a moment. "Maybe I can trick the trickster." She slid down Hugo's arm and approached the troll with a confident smile. "Hello there, good sir," she said cheerfully. That's quite a collection you have. The troll squinted at her suspiciously. And who are you, little traveler? I'm just an admirer of fine treasures, Red said smoothly. I bet someone as clever as you could win any game, couldn't you? The troll puffed out his chest. Of course. I am the greatest trickster in all the land. Red grinned. Then how about a challenge? If I can stump you with a riddle, you return the golden goose. If you solve it, I'll give you something even more special. The troll's eyes gleamed greedily. Deal! What's the riddle? Red took a deep breath and recited. I have keys but open no locks. I have space but no room. You can enter but not go outside. What am I? The troll scratched his head. Keys? Space? Enter? He muttered to himself, his brow furrowed. Minutes passed and he began to fidget. Red crossed her arms. Do you give up? The troll groaned. Fine. What's the answer? Red smiled. A keyboard. The troll let out a frustrated wail and stomped his feet. Tricked by a little girl, he huffed. A deal's a deal. Take your goose and go. Red quickly untied the golden goose, who flapped her wings gratefully. She led the bird back to Hugo, who beamed with joy. Thank you, Red. You're braver and cleverer than many full-grown adventurers I've met. As soon as Red touched the golden goose, her cape shimmered once more. A warm, golden light surrounded her, and she knew what was happening. She turned to Hugo. I think it's time for me to go. The giant knelt and gave her a gentle wave. Wherever you end up next, I hope you continue to bring kindness and wisdom with you. Red smiled. Thank you, Hugo. I'll never forget this adventure. And with that, the magic of her cape lifted her into the air once more, sending her toward her next adventure. Red's journey continued with the familiar sensation of swirling golden light, her red cape glowing brightly around her. She closed her eyes tightly, feeling the world rush by in a blur. When the light finally faded, Red found herself standing in a vast kingdom. But something felt strange. The air was still, and there was an eerie silence in the once bustling streets. The cobblestone roads that normally should have been filled with people were now empty. The homes, grand and majestic, stood silent as if frozen in time. Red took a cautious step forward, her shoes clicking softly against the stones. Hello? Is anyone here? She called out, but only her voice echoed in response. Suddenly, a small, tired-looking owl appeared from behind a stone wall. Its feathers were ruffled, and its eyes were wide with concern. Oh, thank goodness! A visitor! The owl exclaimed. I didn't think anyone would come to help. Red knelt down to the owl's level, her brow furrowing. What's wrong? Where is everyone? The owl sighed deeply. It's the curse of the sleeping spell. The whole kingdom has been affected. Everyone is asleep, trapped in a deep slumber. It was cast by a wicked sorceress who wanted to take control of the kingdom. She used her dark magic to put everyone to sleep, and the spell has lasted for years. Only a few of us, those who were immune, remain awake. Red's heart sank. That's awful! How can I help? The owl's beak twitched as it seemed to think. There's a way, but it won't be easy. Legend has it that only the enchanted Rose of Awakening can break the spell. It is hidden deep within the enchanted forest, guarded by the sorceress's creatures. But to reach it, you must first get through the forest's tricky paths and defeat the creatures who protect it. Red stood up, determination in her eyes. I'll do it. I won't leave this place until the curse is broken. The owl nodded, its wings flapping in approval. You are brave, young one. Take this map. It handed her a scroll with a diagram of the forest, marked with dangerous landmarks. Stay on the path and remember, The creatures of the forest will try to confuse you. Do not let them lead you astray." With a firm grip on the map, Red set off toward the enchanted forest. The trees were thick, their branches tangled and twisted into strange shapes. The air was dense with magic, and the further she walked, the more the forest seemed to change. Paths would suddenly shift, and the air grew heavy with whispering voices. After what felt like hours, Red came to a clearing where a group of mischievous creatures, a mix of talking squirrels, foxes, and owls, gathered around a glowing rock. They watched her carefully, their eyes gleaming with mischief. "Who dares to enter the enchanted forest?" one of the squirrels asked, its voice high-pitched and sharp. "I'm here to find the Rose of Awakening," Red replied boldly. "I need it to break the sleeping spell on the kingdom." The creatures chuckled, and one of the foxes stepped forward. "Ah, the rose! It's a powerful thing, but you'll never get through us." With that, they leaped into action. The squirrels scurried around her feet, making her stumble, while the foxes darted toward the map she was holding, trying to snatch it away. Red fought to keep her balance, but the creature's antics were making it hard to move. Thinking quickly, Red remembered the lesson from her previous adventures. Sometimes, the best way to solve a problem wasn't through force, but through wit. She smiled and called out, "Wait! I have a riddle for you all. If I can stump you, will you let me pass and find the rose?" The creatures paused, their eyes narrowing in curiosity. "A riddle?" the owl repeated, its wings flicking in interest. "We like a good challenge." Red grinned. "Here it goes. I have cities, but no houses. I have forests, but no trees. I have rivers, but no water. What am I?" The creatures froze. The squirrels and foxes whispered among themselves, trying to figure out the answer. The owl fluttered its wings, its feathers rustling in deep thought. After several minutes, the owl spoke. "We give up. What's the answer?" "A map," Red said, her eyes sparkling with triumph. The creatures gasped, realizing they'd been outsmarted. "You've won, traveler," the owl said, bowing its head. "You may continue on your journey." Red smiled and thanked them before continuing her way through the forest, her heart beating with excitement. She could feel she was getting closer to the Rose of Awakening and to breaking the curse that had trapped the kingdom in a deep sleep. As she walked deeper into the forest, the trees parted and a soft light glowed ahead of her. Red knew that she was about to face her greatest challenge yet. Red's journey through the enchanted forest led her to a tranquil glade where the air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers. In the center of the clearing, bathed in golden light, stood the Rose of Awakening. Its petals shimmered with a soft, ethereal glow, and its stem was crowned with sparkling dewdrops that reflected the sun's rays. It was more beautiful than Red had imagined, an enchanting sight, powerful enough to break any curse. She approached the rose slowly, feeling the magic in the air hum around her. The soft petals beckoned her closer, and as she reached out to touch it, the voice of the owl echoed in her mind. "The rose will only bloom for the pure-hearted, and it can only awaken those who are deserving of its power." Red hesitated, then gently touched the stem. Instantly, a warm golden light wrapped around her hand, and the rose began to open, its petals unfolding one by one. The light grew brighter, filling the glade with a soft, calming glow. She could feel the weight of the sleeping spell lifting, a sense of peace settling over the land. As the final petal of the rose opened, the magic flowed outward, sweeping across the kingdom. The curse was broken. Red smiled, knowing that her journey had led her to this moment. But just as the rose's light began to fade, the familiar sensation of her cape's magic surrounded her once again. She had done it. She had completed her task. The ground trembled slightly, and Red found herself gently lifted into the air. The world swirled around her in a flash of golden light, and she closed her eyes, feeling the familiar rush of magic as the cape carried her home. When the light finally faded, Red opened her eyes to find herself standing outside her grandmother's cottage. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the little house. She looked down at her red cape, which had stopped shimmering but still held a faint glow of magic. "I'm home," Red whispered, her heart full of joy. Just as she turned toward the cottage door, it opened and her grandmother stepped out, a kind smile on her face. "There you are, my dear. I've been waiting for you. Did you have an adventure?" Red laughed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Oh, Grandma, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen. I traveled to magical lands, met talking animals, helped a giant find his golden goose, and broke a curse that had been put on a whole kingdom." Her grandmother's eyes twinkled with understanding, and she chuckled softly. "I knew that cape was my dear, it has the power to take you to many wondrous places, and it's always there when you need it most." Red hugged her grandmother tightly. "I couldn't have done it without the cape and the kindness of the people I met along the way." Grandma patted her back. "That's the magic, Red. It's not just in the cape. It's in your heart. You have the courage, the kindness, and the cleverness to face any challenge. And that's what makes you truly special." Red smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. She had learned so much on her journey: the power of kindness, the importance of thinking quickly in tough situations, and the strength that comes from believing in yourself. As she sat down with her grandmother, the two of them enjoying a warm dinner, Red felt grateful for her magical adventure. She didn't know where her red cape would take her next, but she knew one thing for sure. She was ready for whatever adventure lay ahead. And so, with a heart full of dreams and a mind full of stories, Red rested that night, knowing that the magic of the cape would always be there when she needed it. Wherever it took her next, she would face it with courage, kindness, and the spirit of adventure that had guided her from the very beginning. Moral of the story: true magic lies not only in enchanted objects, but in the kindness, courage, and cleverness within us all. When we believe in ourselves and approach challenges with an open heart, we can overcome anything, no matter where our journey takes us.